everybody, I'm Tony, and that's Mark Scandrett coming from San Francisco. He's the executive director of Reimagine, which is a center for spiritual formation there in San Francisco, inspiring people around the country and around the world to be spiritually formed, become whole, and to love God more. Mark, in your book, Practicing the Way of Jesus, Life Together in the Kingdom of Love, one of the things that you promote is this idea of spiritual experimentation, getting together with a group of people and doing experiments to sort of form the soul and to move people into courage and creativity. And I love it. You know, you've got have two, give one, which I think is fantastic based on the teaching. If you have two cloaks, sell one and give it to the poor. People would half what they own in an act of sort of courageous generosity. And I'm just curious, you know, I've read the book. I love the book. I love all the experiments in it. Is there any experiment that's not in the book that maybe you have that you find a little inspiration from that you could share with us today?
Wow. There's lots of experiments. I actually experimentation is my lifestyle, like kind of spiritual life hacking. So one that I don't think made it to the book that I did right after that was really helpful to me. I was on the phone with a friend, and it had taken us like 3 days to get a hold of each other. And he said, man, my technology is overwhelming to me. Like, I got texts coming in, I got like emails and, you know, everything instant. And he said, you know, this is a problem when I wake up in the morning and before I kiss my wife, I'm already looking at my phone. And when I'm sitting at the breakfast table, instead of talking with my kids while they're munching their cereal, I've got my head down in my lap. And I said, well, I'm not so addicted to my mobile device, but it's like pressing the button to get the email and checking it right when I get up in the morning and at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night before I go to bed. Like, we're always on. And I said, well, we could do an experiment about this. So I have a simple process I like to keep in mind about these things. And the first question is, what's not working? And so I've kind of described it already. For him and I, it was our poor relationship with our technology is making it so that we're not fully present to the people in our lives. And we are experiencing anxiety inside because of that. So the second thing I like to ask is, what's the vision of life that God invites us into? What's possible? Well, it seems like from the example and teachings of Jesus, he invites us into a life where we're fully present to those in our lives, and we live with a sense of peace, not from a sense of striving or anxiety. So then the third question we asked each other is, what could we do in our minds and bodies that might help us live in that preferred future, that the reality of what's possible? So we came up with a couple of things to experiment with it. One was, we said, we're going to put some limits on our technology. We're not going to look at devices until we had a time like 8:30 in the morning, and we're going to be done at 6:30 at night. And then the second thing, a second aspect is, we said, when we do, basically all of our technology connects us with people. So we're going to pause when we get a message before we respond to it, to remember this is God's beloved child that I'm talking with or responding to, and I want to just quick say a prayer of blessing to that person, for that person. So we did this for 7 days, and at the end of the 7 days, got on the phone and said, what was that like? And both of us had a similar experience. It really was transformative, and it really did help us be more present to our families and those close to us, have that anxiety and striving go down. And it works so well. It's something that I've tried to maintain ever since then.
I love it. I love everything about it, but just the idea that you'd be having a conversation with an actual friend or an actual thing that bothers you, or you know that you're not being as whole as you could be, and you just stop and go, well, then let's just experiment for a week. Like, why not just add some intentionality to this one area, pretty doable intentionality, sounds like, from what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you had a transformative thing just because you took the time to set up, like, let's do this and let's do it together. I just think that's beautiful. Mark, did you have any closing thought?
Yeah, the thing I've discovered over and over is there are things we long to do to live well, but it's hard to do alone. And that's the magic of a shared experiment, is that you have that solidarity and support to take your next step.
Love it. Everybody, Mark Scandrette, practicing the way of Jesus. Thanks for spending time with me, buddy.